want some candy?
What's going on, everybody? Nazdarachi back again with another episode of Relic Review for Final Fantasy Record Keeper here. This episode is going to be primarily focused around the World of Final Fantasy event that was just added, the Enter the Grimoire. But before I dive into the new event, I thought it would be good to mention an update they made last night, which is pretty significant. Now, every single Relic banner and piece of content that was associated with 2nd Anniversary has been reopened until the 13th, 14th of this month. So any draws that you might have missed out on and wanted to go back and maybe get another chance at, or any of the Orb Fest dungeons for every single type of orb, those have all been reopened as well. So any of those you missed, you can tackle, as well as the multiplayer raid dungeon and the Mithril dungeon, which hopefully you've already done. The Mithril dungeon is still open as well, and the X records. So they've extended every single piece of content from 2nd Anniversary, so that is pretty important and good to note. Now, diving into some of the specifics of the World of Final Fantasy event, the dungeons themselves award a special currency that can be used, as you can see up here, the Prismarium Emporium. You can trade this currency for things like some 6-star crystals, there's a 5-star magic accessory, I believe, some 5-star orbs, and as well as Mithril. So that gives you a good little reason to farm this event and get some of these currencies here to exchange for some pretty decent items. With that being said, the banner itself is probably one of the main downsides of all the new content, especially with World of Final Fantasy. The items, while some of them are good, are really not the greatest. And let's go ahead and check them out and cover the banner here. So your first item here is the Yellow Alpha Arm. It is the Mega Mirage Zantetsuken. It is for the new character Lan, 169 attack, which is on par with other top tier OSBs. Fist weapon, so some of your monks and other less loved characters get a nice little OSB here. But the bonus effects are synergy dependent. I'm not too sure how many World of Final Fantasy events there are actually going to be, so that probably has very limited functionality, and it does really only stack with his Burst Soul Break and whatever other fire abilities you put on him. It doesn't actually stack with this Overstrike here in the first place. So kind of confusing, but moving forward, the Overstrike here, massive physical attack with high chance to instantly KO one target, deals more damage if the female character, Ren, is in the party as well, can break the damage cap. Now, this, sadly, is a pretty significantly below average Overstrike Soul Break. Starting from the top, it only deals physical damage, so there's no elemental infusions that are really possible with this. As well, it's not ranged, so it's not going to hit any enemies that are a pain in the ass hiding in the backdrop. And the instant chance to KO really has super limited functionality. Almost every single top tier boss in the game, and even a lot of high level enemies and torments and other situations, are going to resist the instant KO effect. So you're not just going to go into the boundless infinity nemesis and boom, hit him with this and oh yeah, you won. No, it's not going to work because this effect is a little too cheap. It would really break the game's difficulty. So it's kind of been nullified. Again, that really makes this item overall, with the only physical damage, not really the greatest item. Sad to say, I wish the World of Final Fantasy items were a little bit better. You have about a 0.77% chance to draw this glove here. The best thing about it would be giving a stat stick to some monk characters, I guess, in my opinion. Your next item here is the Burst Soul Break for Lan. This one does add a small boost to fire damage at all times, no matter what realm you're in, but it's a thrown weapon and the attack is only 119. So the chances of you actually using this outside of a synergistic situation for another character are actually kind of low. With that being said, Burst Soul Break will be enhanced by the bonus effect, and it is the Channel Element Fire. Deals 6 range physical fire and non-elemental attacks to all targets, haste and burst mode to the user, and infuse them with the power of fire. This is just kind of an average Soul Break right here. It only has the 2 effects and the standard haste and burst mode to the user, the 2 effects being the attack itself and the infuse the user with the power of fire. Now this will help when you're stacking a fire team, but just the Soul Break by itself is rather average. Melting Blow and Solar Flame, both combat abilities, 4 ranged physical fire non-elemental attacks to one target, deals more damage to targets vulnerable or slight weakness to fire, deal 2 ranged physical fire non-elemental attacks to all targets, and temporarily lower the user's defense and raise the user's attack a moderate amount. So the burst commands here are actually not really terrible at all. You do have the bargain on burst command 2, which will up your stats, and the Melting Blow got your standard kind of 4 attacks. Really though, for this to really shine, you're going to want someone on your team that's going to lessen the enemy's fire resistance. Now this move, N elements land with fire here, so you're going to want a fire resistance break to really maximize the potential here. Really it shines on a fire-based team, and because he's a combat character, you can fit him in with other fire mages pretty well. So this item, honestly, in my opinion, better than his OSB. You have about a 0.92% chance to draw this item here. Moving on, we have the Burst Soul Break for the other new character, the female Ren. Small boost to ice damage at all times, 81 attack and 130 magic, so the stats are actually not terrible on this. The magic stat's pretty good, and it's a thrown weapon as well. 6 summon magic ice and non-elemental attacks to all targets, haste and burst mode to the user, and temporarily infuse them with the power of ice. So it's identical to the burst mode of the other character, but ice instead. Again, just the Burst Soul Break by itself, kind of average, but it will shine in an ice team-based situation. Glacial Arrow, 4 magic ice non-elemental attacks to one target, deals more damage to targets vulnerable, yada yada yada, same as the Burst Command 1 for the other character. Big Freeze, deal 2 magic ice non-elemental attacks to one target, and restore a small amount of HP to the user based on their max. The second burst command is really what makes the other fire-based BSB on this banner what it is. It's really good to have bargain commands that'll raise your stats. Because this one is missing that, it is not quite as good as the other burst soul break, unfortunately, but it will shine in an ice-based team, and it is magic instead. So if you are needing a magic or a spell-based burst soul break, then you will prefer this one. But again, Burst Command 2 is much nicer on the Fire Burst Soul Break in this banner. Looks like you have about a 1.0% chance to draw the Bobliz Mirage Beyond here. Alrighty, next up we have an item that's been around for quite a while. It is Sarah's Burst Soul Break. Armor that gives a small boost to holy damage at all times is not bad. Robe with 17 magic, 90 defense, 138 resistance, and 17 mind. The Burst Soul Break is your age-old hymn. Restore a moderate amount of HP to all allies. Enable them 1 magic blink. And raise the user's mind a moderate amount. Not a terrible Burst Soul Break at all. Now it does lag behind ones like Asylum for Y'shtola a little bit, as well as Transcendent Dreams for Vanille. The instant effect on the Burst command from Vanille's and the barrier on Y'shtola's make them slightly better. But the Blink Magic Attack effect on this is pretty dang good, and your Burst Command 1 does give you an instant restore a large amount of HP to one ally, so it will be similar to Y'shtola's Burst Command 1, except this one also grants major regen. It's not super useful, but it can counter situations when your character is poisoned or sapped, so it does have some functionality. And Simple Plea is your basic small medica to the whole team. Nothing crazy there. If you need this item or Final Fantasy 1 synergy, it could be a reason to draw on this banner. Healing Burst Soul Breaks are always useful, but again, this item has been around for a while and is not really a crazy awesome addition to this banner, except for those in need of Medica Burst Soul Breaks. And it seems like you have about a 0.74% chance to pull this relic here. Fairly low. Next up we have Super Soul Break for the new Lan character. Light Armor has identical stats to other attack-based light armors in the game at 17, 113, 113. No bonus effects whatsoever. Super Soul Break Revenge Blast. Instantly deal 8 physical attacks to random targets with a high chance to interrupt their actions. Deals more damage the lower the user's HP. So this Super Soul Break can be somewhat useful. Anytime you're instantly doing anything, it does have a very niche effect that can save your ass. But with that being said, random targets kind of questionable. If you're only fighting one boss, then you're pretty good to go with that. And the interrupts can be extremely useful if whatever you're fighting is vulnerable to interrupts. There are also a lot of boss characters and certain dungeons where interrupts are not going to help you out at all, so this is a very situational based Super Soul Break. Not as good as his Burst Soul Break really at all, but again, it is just a Super Soul Break, so I guess that's to be expected a little bit. And it deals more damage the lower the user's HP, can help you out, but I generally do not like to play the game with my characters at low health. I like to usually keep them as healed up as possible, so that may be an effect that has questionable success in battle. It just really depends on what your healing situation is looking like. Again, it's pretty risky to run the characters at low health, especially the harder the dungeon you're in, but there is a pretty cool animation for this one, so we'll give it a little bit of a pass. 8 physical instant attacks isn't bad. I wish there was an element attached to them, but the trade-off for that is your interrupt. When it works, anyway. So your percent chance to draw the Farnicoat here is about 2.25%. Will fit into any good physical situation. And next up we have the Farna Dress, the Super Soul Break for Ren. Small boost to lightning damage at all times, so you do get a bonus effect that the other piece of armor does not. And the stats are again identical to every magic light armor in the game for the most part. 17, 113, 113, nothing new there. Ramuh Transfiguration, 8 summon magic, lightning, and non-elemental attacks to one target, and grant haste to all allies. So I would place this Super Soul Break at a little bit better than the Super Soul Break for Lan. The Haste Dagger to the whole team is a very useful effect, and your 8 attacks can be all targeted at one target, and they're magic, lightning, and non-elemental. So not only are they not only physical, they can be enhanced. You're not randomly doing damage across the board. So a little bit more strategic value. Haste Dagger to all allies is a very good benefit to have, and bonus effects on this one make this the much better Super Soul Break of the two. Your chance to pull this is a little bit higher too, which is good, 2.31%. Next up we have the Chaos Rod. This was just on one of the anniversary banners. Miracle Veil, large amount of HP to all allies, and damage stock for 2k HP, 55 attack, 100 magic, 130 mind. It is a good Super Soul Break to have for Yuna to complement all her abilities and to get the mastery points. Yuna's USB coming up is going to be one of the best in the game. It is not the best, but it's going to be up there. So stacking abilities on Yuna is not going to hurt you. Again, it's a good healing ability. Not as good as the White Mage Burst Soul Break that's on this banner, but still something good to have. It has been around in the game recently though, so that's pretty much all I have to say about it at this current point in time. And you have about a 1.95% chance to pull it. Etra's Embrace, Lightning's Armor. This has also been in the game fairly recently. Light Armor, 17 attack, but you lose 1 point for your defense and resistance, so only 112, 112 sadly. The trade-off for that is you get the boost to lightning damage at all times, so it does have that nice bonus effect there. And Super Soul Break Lightning Strike, 8 ranged physical lightning and non-elemental attacks to all targets, and temporarily infuse the user with the power of lightning. This is a reasonable lead-in move to some of her other moves. You do want the infuse the user with the power of lightning before you lead into like her OSB, for example, or even potentially her Burst Soul Break. But if you have her Burst Soul Break, you probably want to lead with that instead of this, and then use the OSB, or just keep spamming the Burst Soul Break. Again though, with that being said, she doesn't have the greatest OSB, so anything that's going to help that out is going to be helpful. I don't really use lightning, but fans of lightning will probably want this item just to complement her, and the mastery bonus as well cannot be slept upon. Your chance to draw the Etra's Embrace here is about 2.22%. Kind of item that's been around for a while, so I don't really need to cover it too insanely in depth. Yoichi's Bow is for Ferris here, 106 attack, 26 magic, 26 mind, so pretty low stats unfortunately, but it is only a unique soul break, and it's a fairly decent one too. Sea Lord's Broadside, 4 ranged physical attacks to all targets, and temporarily lower their attack and magic a large amount. These breaks are great in any situation you're in, be it a physical or a magic or a hybrid dungeon, and since they're both a large amount, they will stack pretty well with most of the rest of the breaks in the game, like full break, as well as, you know, any small breaks or burst soul breaks that certain characters might have. You might be able to squeeze this in as a nice breaking ability, especially for synergy in Final Fantasy V dungeons. So honestly, not a terrible unique soul break, but the stats on this are fairly low, so you'd want to just master it and switch this item off of her pretty quickly here, and no bonus effects. Seems like you got about a 1.98% chance to pull it, and that would be the last item as it was the unique soul break. So let's go ahead here and make a 100 gem draw. With all of the anniversary stuff being re-released and other opportunities there, I can't really justify spending any large amount of resources on this banner here. Unless you're a huge fan of World of Final Fantasy, or you really don't have anything else in the game to spend your resources on, I would probably skip this one for revisiting some of the anniversary stuff, or waiting until the Final Fantasy III event that's up and coming here for another shot at getting some Onion Knight stuff. As you can see, only got some 4-star armor. It's better than our other recent draws, but nothing insanely good. Probably just going to sell it. In the meantime, I am highly tempted to make another draw on one of the anniversary banners. I only have 26 mithril. So definitely we don't need anything from Phase 4. Crush that phase. Phase 5, all I really want is the USB. The chances of that are pretty low. Phase 3, I did want Sid Reigns and Golbad's Love. And Phase 1, I did want Sephiroth stuff. But I got pretty much everything else in Phase 1, so we could take a quick jab at Phase 3, I guess, here. Let's just do a Relic Draw 3 and see if anything happens. 26 mithril, you know, it is what it is. Should be saving up for Final Fantasy 3, but it'd be really nice if I got the Metamorphosis clause right here. And unfortunately, we got nothing. So, waste of resources, but sometimes you get a good hand, sometimes you get a bad hand. In the meantime, guys, I hope you liked this episode of Relic Review. Be sure to check out any of this anniversary stuff, as well as the dungeons and Orb Fest that you might have missed out on. As well, stick around with the channel. There'll be more Final Fantasy Record Keeper stuff always around the bend. And this is Nazdarachi. I hope you guys have a great day. I will catch you next time. See you later, y'all. Peace out.